about easy handicaps, well, we've got the Martin Pipe to do. So, so stats in this actually, again, are quite strong. Having said that, people see it as being the minefield at the end of the festival, but it is actually pretty strong stats wise. Mullins has won 4, Elliott's won 2, Nichols has won 2, so they've dominated with eight between them, and they've had multiple placed horses. Interestingly, all of William Mullins' winners were novices. All winners were either novices or second season hurdlers. So there's been 13 renewals of the race. Mullins has won 4 of them, all with novices, and they were the 4 novices. All of the others were second season hurdlers. So when you look at Elliott, Nichols, and the other winners of the race, it's been with their second season hurdlers that they've done really well. And I thought that was quite interesting, actually. Only early doors of the 7 Irish winners had run in a handicap before. The really interesting thing with that, though, is the handicap that he'd run in before was this as a novice in the previous season. So that's a weird old stat. Gigginstown's interesting as well. Across those 13 races, they've had 12 runners, 4 winners and 5 places from those 12 runners, which is an incredible stat. And also, of all of the winners, there's only been 2 winners that have had more than 8 runs, and that was Indefatigable, and she had 8, and At a Glance, who had 11. You're looking for someone that's won or placed in a graded race or has won at least at Class C. Definitely won a horse that's won with more than 11 runners. You probably give a pass to something that runs prominently. And the reason for that, you're talking about the boys' race here with a lot of inexperienced jockeys. Sometimes trying to get through is pretty hard. There are a lot of hard look stories in this race. So you want horses that are used to big fields, or as I say, something that races prominently if they're not. So they're not going to get into too much trouble. So something that won last time or was down the field in a graded race, preferably a grade 1. And in all of the renewals so far, there's never been a beaten favourite that's won this race. So anything that was beaten favourite last time, just don't cut it. And I think the obvious one that I'm going to say is that it's normally won by the best conditional jockeys. Inexperience in this race is a massive negative. Really is a massive negative. How long's your shortlist for this one, Jono? Because it's normally quite long for all of us, I reckon.
This is easy, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
One horse, and we've got the inside information. Langadan just wins, doesn't he? Easy peasy.
Well, I do
had a little spin the other day. Put some spot on straight there. Done.
Yeah, I think he's just gone at the game, isn't he?
I've gutted actually because I don't know if you saw Sky pushed him out. It was in double figure 12 or 14 to 1. I can't get on with Sky. Yep. I texted Ken actually. He was too busy.
I contemplated doing the special that was not to win, not to place and to win this, which was what was that? That was 14 to 1 or something, was it? Or 18 to 1? I think it was 18.
Yeah, I only saw that after the race, and I was like, oh yeah, that was a corker.
I went on to do it, and I just thought about it, and I thought, now what I'm going to do is, because I'd rather have the place part as well rather than the winter day things. I will do them very occasionally, but in fact, I don't think I've done one this season, in actual fact. But I prefer to have the place part as well. So my thought process was, he's going to get turned over today because he needs the race. He's probably going to be out of the places because it will help. And Bet365 are very defensive now because they don't want people cashing out. So my immediate thought was, immediately post-race, prices go up, I'll take whatever the longer price is. Phone rings, don't see the race, don't get off for another half an hour. By the time that's happened, he's been pushed out and gone all the way back in again. So I missed that twice. So annoying. So annoying. Like, to be honest, I've probably got enough on him anyway. I've not been shy backing him, as you probably gathered. So, it was the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake, really, because I've already backed him 3 times. So I didn't really need to add any more. I got on early at 18s, which was quite nice, and I've backed him a couple of times since. So I didn't need any more on, really, but I do like him, as you know. I think most people do. What you do is you look at the race and you say, where's the Galopin de Champ in there? And there could be, if I'm honest. There are some players, I think. There are some players in this race. What else do you like?
So I will be 2 seconds. I'm going to top up on Langadan.
All right, while you're doing that, then I'll start talking about some of the obvious ones then. So look, we've got the 2 obvious trainers to look at, and that is Willie and Gordon. So Willie, the ones that I could take seriously this time around, a state man if he ends up here. Although again, I think I've said I'd prefer him over 2. Deploy the Getaway and Adamantly Chosen, and I think one of those could go county and one goes here. Don't know which way round. But both of those are interesting as an exposed sort, and they fit the Willie Mullins bill. Whereas he's been a little quieter with them, almost as though these are my graded horses that I'm going to aim at the handicaps. That's the feeling I have with both of those 2, really. Gordon has a full hand. Chemical Energy, Ashtree Meadow, O'Fleuron, Hiao, however you pronounce it, and the Goffer that won today. So he's got plenty to choose from. O'Fleuron and Ashtree Meadow are the ones that I probably liked the most. Chemical Energy I can't argue with because clearly he's had him marked out from the very start. So I think they're probably the 3 that he will run in the race: Chemical Energy, Ashtree Meadow, and O'Fleuron. I think the other 2 possibly won't be good enough. Hiao would be second string for Cornwall Construction anyway, I think. And the Goffer, that's a bit of recency bias, I think. It's a typical trial race for him, but I'm not sure, he's going to be in the same class as the others. Another horse that does interest me, I mentioned the 3 trainers that have a very good record in this, and one of them happens to be Paul Nicholls. He's got Nappers Hill entered here. It's the only entry, and it's over 2.5 in the boys' race, and I thought that was quite interesting. I think he quietly fancies Nappers Hill. I think after his Nappers Hill first couple of races, I think he might have made a plan. So I do think he's a player. The 2 Gigginstown horses that could run in this are Decimation and Darster Picton. And I mentioned Darster Picton could come here rather than the Potemps. Decimation probably has more of the kind of profile of a Gigginstown horse that does well in this race. That's with Henry de Bromhead. So, he's not tied up with some of the other trainers there. So, is Decimation Henry de Bromhead or is he Noel Mead? Good question now, actually.
I think he's Henry's. Yeah, Henry's.
Yeah, okay. So clearly, they have to be of interest if they're in the final declarations. Grand Jury, the horse that's not coming to the festival, that has an entry literally everywhere. If he came here, he's off 142. Yeah, right. and another horse I mentioned for the Coral Camperond. So it's quite a long list to work from, but there are 110 entries, so it was bound to be. But they'd be the ones that would be interesting me for this race. I didn't really spot anything else that I particularly fancied.
Nice, yeah. Not much more to add, to be honest. Just because of the sheer amount of entries, I don't tend to get too involved early on with this one, and especially because, Langadan has been probably the one I've liked from the offset. But yeah, I'll probably narrow it down to the Elliott and Mullins runners. Probably what I'll probably tend to do, and what I've done in previous years, is back the majority non-runner no bet, and then let the returns come back on the ones that don't run, rather than wait to find out, because it's a kind of race that the prices will just go pretty short.
Yeah, on their it's not one you're backing on the day. It's not worth it. No. The price of a long gone.
Yeah, so as soon as they start name check, I know Elliott's come and name check some of them, but Willie Mullins certainly, as soon as he pinpoints his runners, the prices will go. So yeah, at the moment it's very much a blanket kind of cover on the main trainers, and then I'll kind of whittle it down a bit closer to the time, to be honest.
Well, look, we are 2.5 hours in, so we've broken a record tonight, which I'm sure Kevin's going to be merciless when he finds out. But the great thing is we've done 2.5 hours and we've done the least detail on any horses we've ever done. So there we go.
It is, yeah.
But it's kind of one of those, isn't it? When the handicap entries come out, it was never going to be a short one. There's no way of cutting this short. We've had probably very few hours to spend on this, so we were never going to get down to 2 or 3 selections. That wasn't going to happen for this one. We have a bit of time between now and next week's podcast when we'll also have the handicap entries, so we can do some work on that. So hopefully we have a much shorter list for next week's podcast. I think probably for everybody's benefit, we're going to need to timestamp this one so people can do it in whatever bites they want to do. But I hope it's been useful. As I say, it's not as detailed as it's been in the past, but maybe in some of our short lists, you'll pick up some horses that you hadn't seen or hadn't considered or weren't looking at. Maybe we've talked about all horses that do interest you, but no polls this week. Obviously, there's nothing to really poll. We're now at the point where the festival feels real. Certainly, just for me, when the handicap entries come out, that's the point where I start to get genuinely excited. So I am at the point now where I'm really starting to count the days down. And we are. What are we? We are 19 days away, I think, from the festival. So
yeah, spot on.
We are getting very close now. We're going to get to this time next week, and we're going to be saying it's 12 days to the festival, which is superb. And I think we'll probably be Thursday next week, John, if that works for both of you two guys. So we've got a couple of days with the weights. Yeah. Hopefully the BHA don't screw us over and do it a day late because they can't get a man with a screwdriver to fix their internet. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, guys. We'll be back next week. As I say, we hopefully will have some much shorter lists of horses when we've got the handicap marks, and we'll be talking to you about probably the 2 or 3 horses that we fancy for each race. So unless there's anything else from you, Jono?
No, all good. Let's get in. I know we're over 2.5. I thought we might have just squeezed under 2:30, but yeah.
No, we've not squeezed.
We'll leave it there.
I reckon there might be a comment or two on the length of this podcast on there. And in all seriousness, guys, if you do find this too long, it's not what you want, We can do something different. But if you think this was the right thing for this podcast, equally, that's really good to know, because we've got 12 months hence, and we can do the same thing. So anyway, that's it. I think we'll just say good night and catch you on the forum. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.